Aaron Pico was once the most highly touted prospect in all of mixed martial arts. But that hype train was derailed by back-to-back losses in Bellator to Henry Corrales and Adam Boric. But Pico, who was only a 5-fight veteran, was thrown to the wolves. With some retooling, Aaron Pico has found new life and has put together a nice 4-fight win streak, capped off by the win over Aiden Lee at Bellator 260. In today's technical readout, we look at Pico's win over Lee and see how he mixes in wrestling with his heavy hands and what he can do better going forward. The fight with Aiden Lee had Aaron Pico putting on a ton of work while going deep into the fight. While he was disappointed and expressed his desire for a quick finish in his post-fight interview, the win was much needed for Pico. Pico went deep into waters and got the win, but the deep waters weren't easily waded, even by the prodigy wrestler. It took work for Aaron Pico to get himself in that position to win against an unorthodox striker like Lee. In the very first exchange, we see Lee throwing kicks at Pico, keeping him at range. With a couple kicks to the body and head, Pico has his read and makes his penetration step, grabbing the single leg and getting Lee to the ground early in the fight, setting the tone for the long night Lee would be enduring. Pico was a classic example of a wrestler falling in love with the hands. But against Lee at Bellator 260, Aaron Pico kept his hands high and parried. While he moved his hands a little too much on the parry, he did manage to gauge the distance well. He leans back, not always recommended, and catches Lee with his right cross overextended, exposing his hips and taking said hips. Pico shoots and gets the fight to the ground once more. In the past, Pico would throw his hands when he has his opponent on his heels and try for the knockout. Here, Pico lands a jab and has his cross parried, purposeful or not. On the cross, he squares up and is in good position for a trip. Instead, Pico uses his position to rip the body with an uppercut. Instead of blitzing here, Aaron Pico cuts off the cage and shoots a takedown on the hips again, going to the mat. Here, Pico almost puts Lee away with a Darce choke. I would like to see more punches thrown from Pico in this position, especially early on. Expanding the cardio gap would pay him dividends deeper into a fight. Pico's transitions are lightning fast as well. While he gets to the back, Pico struggles to get anything meaningful started in a quick amount of time, and Lee surprisingly Granby rolls away safely. Pico doesn't let the wildness of Aiden Lee's striking get him into a dogfight. A Superman cage punch and a lazy flying knee later, Pico has Lee right back on the mat again. One thing that I love that Aaron Pico does here is a short elbow to the body while in side control. This isn't seen nearly enough in mixed martial arts, and when in side control can reap havoc on an adversary's cardio. We've talked about the upkick in a previous technical readout. Gegard Mousasi caught Jacare Souza with one in Dream, putting his lights clean out. We discussed the proper form here is to grab the feet, push the hips forward, and create space. Pico doesn't do that here, and if not fixed, could be catastrophic, but he manages to end up in side control and land some brutal elbows. In Lee's guard, Aaron Pico has a magnificent pass. When Lee shrimps out, space is created and Pico manages to sneak his right knee into the guard and keep Aiden Lee close. Lee did not close his guard, which allowed the space for the knee to get through. To get past his other leg, Pico pushes the leg down with his already passed leg getting through the guard. After breaking free, Aaron Pico steps around for the armbar and Lee spazzes out just enough to get out, and Pico quickly transitioned to a heel hook, which couldn't quite cinch up. At the start of the third round, Aaron Pico gets more of a ground and pound I'm wanting to see from him. He pushes Lee to the cage and Lee sails out for the guillotine that doesn't work. Once again, once Pico frees his head, the ground and pound begins. Towards the end, Lee is turtled up and Pico gets to side control and launches missile strikes of a knee to the midsection of Aiden Lee. Lee, broken and bruised, rolls over, giving the darts to Pico once more, securing the Pico win. While he may have stumbled early in his career, Aaron Pico has changed his game for mixed martial arts and become more of a complete fighter. The future is bright, and as he improves utilizing his skill set evenly, he will continue to recognize the praise he received early on. Thanks for watching.